we want to cover the shooting of the man by ICE, because that one's a doozy. That one's a really big top. Even the right-wing shills apparently cannot defend the shooting. Even Asmongold, the biggest political streamer, the biggest shill for Trump, he could not defend this shooting. This shooting is so indefensible that it's just impossible to do. I mean, I've seen some people try it. Some people say that basically there's this rule that I'm already talking about it, I guess. There's this rule in the United States, and I have noticed it already with George Floyd, that resisting arrest, this very strange idea that resisting arrest basically means that your life is forfeit. That if you dare to resist any type of officer, no matter how they treat you, if you resist, then you're fair game to be killed. Your life is forfeit at that point. And I've seen people already make that point. I've seen people make that argument that the person shot was, just thrashing about, refusing arrest, resisting arrest, and that it was a legitimate thing to shoot him, therefore. There was a video footage that clearly showed that the person was gassed, restrained, thrown to the ground. His concealed gun was taken away from him. And then, only after that, he was shot several times. How can you defend that? I'm gonna do a little bit of research. Okay, we're gonna become researchers. We're gonna look at the newest information. What we know about the ICE shooting. I wanna know. There we go. New York Times. I don't like the New York Times. The Guardian. Oh. Second federal killing in Minneapolis. How the shooting of Alex Pretty unfolded. Video analysis. Because there's ongoing, of course, protests against ICE. And I guess ICE, from trying to find undocumented immigrants, has been relegated to taking care of protesters, shooting protesters. That is what ICE has been relegated to now. That is what ICE became. Warning, I'm not sure if we can watch this video actually on stream. I'm not sure if we can watch this video on stream. There we go. One moment, okay? Eyewitnesses video of Alex Pretty's killings rounds counter to many federal administration statements. Investigators are reviewing body-worn camera video of the shooting Saturday. A DHS spokesperson exclusively confirmed to NBC News. Because of course.
Overnight, outrage in Minneapolis after the killing of Alex Pretty, a 37-year-old ICU nurse shot Saturday morning by a federal Border Patrol agent. Last night, protesters trying to get into a hotel in Minneapolis where they believed federal agents were staying. Authorities breaking up the crowd. Yesterday, Governor Tim Walz activating the state's National Guard and demanding federal agents leave.
That Donald Trump needs to pull these 3,000 untrained agents out of Minnesota before...
Untrained agents is right. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to de-escalate. Again, they restrained the man, gassed him, took his weapon away, and then shot him. Untrained officers is right.
They kill another person.
But President Trump blaming Democrats for the unrest, writing in a lengthy post, 2 American citizens have lost their lives as a result of this Democrat-ensued chaos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's all the Democrats. It's not that basically Trump is sending brown shirts on the streets to brutalize people. No. That has nothing to do with it. It's all about the Democrats.
And Renee Good, who was fatally shot earlier this month. Some Trump officials facing scrutiny for accusing Pretty of approaching agents with a handgun.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently.
Nope, they disarmed him. They disarmed him before shooting. There's a video that clearly demonstrates that.
But at least 4 different videos of the encounter, analyzed by NBC News, appear to show Pretty with a phone in his hand in the moments before his death, attempting to come to the aid of a woman pushed to the ground by federal agents. An agent pepper sprays him.
Yep, there you go. He was pepper sprayed. He was thrown to the ground. I think he was restrained by 6 people. His weapon, his concealed weapon, which he was allowed to legally have, was taken away, and then he was shot.
Before Preddy is brought to the ground. Some of the video shows an agent appearing to reach into the skirmish and remove a gun that looked like Preddy's. Then,
There you go.
Preddy is shot. Preddy is a U.S. citizen with no criminal record and was licensed to carry a concealed weapon.
This is important. He had the right to have that weapon on him. This is very important because some politicians in the United States, and I cannot believe that that's a thing, because everybody, all the conservatives always cry about the Second Amendment, you know, the right to, to bear arms. Everybody always so up in arms about it. Apparently, the director of FBI does not believe that. Apparently, you should always be able to practice your Second Amendment at home. Apparently, Second Amendment means nothing. It is very, very important to keep in mind. It's very important to keep in mind that he was allowed to have that weapon on him. But what does the director of FBI say?
As Christie said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence. We will, of course, always protect your First Amendment speech. And if you peacefully protest, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you have seen a trend here, not just in Minnesota, but across the country, in these protests turning into violent scenarios and people attacking law enforcement. That's when you go over the line, and that's when law enforcement steps in.
Second Amendment is great, unless it's inconvenient for us, in which case we will shoot you, even if you have the right to conceal carry. Even if you have the right to conceal carry, okay? Like, do I have to become this super stringent, this super hardcore pro-gun advocate now? Do I have to become this super gun advocate now and point out that this person was perfectly in his right to have that gun on him?
According to local,
Like, this is the hypocrisy of the MAGA crowd. Oh, you will take the guns away from our cold hands. Oh, unless you actually conceal carry when during a protest against Trump's brown shirts, against ICE. Then suddenly you break the law. Then suddenly you're inciting violence. You're almost a terrorist, or maybe you are a terrorist. You deserve to be shot by ICE because you legally conceal carry. Because, the Second Amendment is much less powerful, I guess, than it was conceal carry, I think. But I think in Minneapolis, you are allowed to open carry anyway, right? You're allowed to open carry, I believe, let me see. I think you're allowed to open carry open carry is legal in Minnesota. There you go. So it doesn't even matter if it was open or concealed carry. You are allowed to open carry. But I think this person had it concealed because they reached in and took the weapon out of his pocket or something. So I think in this case it was concealed carry. I don't think he had a phone out, but he did not have his gun out when the shooting happened. He was definitely not open carrying right before the shooting. Yeah, but we have videos from several angles. Like there are eyewitnesses that have recorded this, so they cannot just say that he was brandishing it, because several video evidence just completely contradicts that.
local officials. Preddy's family saying in a statement, "The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Alex is clearly not holding a gun when attacked by Trump's..."
There you go. I said it. I was right. Alex is clearly not holding a gun when attacked by Trump's murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. He was not brandishing the weapon. He had it hidden. And even if, first of all, he was allowed to conceal carry, and in Minnesota it is legal to open carry. Second Amendment baby. Okay, I'm a hardcore Second Amendment person right now. I'm now American. I'm pro-gun. You have the right to have your gun and defend yourself against the oppressive government. Isn't that the whole point why the Second Amendment was made to begin with? For the people to be able to defend themselves against an oppressive government? Huh? Yeah, I'm not arguing against anybody. I'm just making an aggressive argument. I'm just making a lively case, okay? Because fake Alec Kyle Parker always says that I discuss events like a coma patient. And I don't want to be a coma patient anymore. I want to be the opposite of that.
Murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. Overnight, President Trump telling the Wall Street Journal his administration is reviewing everything about the shooting.
Bullshit. His administration is looking into all angles from which it can excuse it. It's just, let's give the agent absolute immunity. Again, not even the right-wing shills can defend this one. I believe not even Mr. Asmongold was able to muster a proper defense of this shooting because it's indefensible. Not only was the guy gassed in the face, not only was he thrown to the ground and restrained by 6 people, I believe, his weapon was taken away, and only then he got shot. The incompetence on the display, or malice, you take your pick, is incredible.
When pressed, Trump did not directly answer whether the agent who shot Pretty had done the right thing. Here in Minneapolis, Pretty remembered, shown here as an ICU nurse reading a final salute.
We remember that freedom is not free.
And a memorial growing for Pretty on the street.
What do you see when you watch those videos?
This is ridiculous. The fact that nobody can answer the simple question, was the agent in the wrong? He was doing his... I mean, of course, Trump is going to stand in the defense of his brown shirts. That is what I'm going to refer to ICE moving forward. Brown shirts. The SA, the thugs that worked for the Nazi regime in the early stages of the Nazi regime. They would brutalize people on the street. They were the street enforcers. And that is basically what ICE has become for Donald Trump. His own domestic SA.
Videos.
An execution, an absolute execution.
And this morning, a federal judge has issued an order that blocks the Trump administration from altering or destroying any evidence relating to this shooting after local officials sued. In the meantime, in Washington, some Senate Democrats saying that they will vote to not fund the Department of Homeland Security.
If I was in the U.S., I'd go there. If I was in the U.S., I'd definitely go there and film the protests.
Threatening a potential shutdown there as early as this Friday. And in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, President Trump expressing a potential willingness to withdraw federal authorities here, Savannah.
Potential.
Saying that they have been here a while and have done a phenomenal job and will leave at some point.
Oh, they've done a phenomenal job. They've shot somebody. Great job. You've killed another citizen. You get a bonus.
But not making a timeline clear as to when that will take place. Savannah.
Morgan Chesky, thank you. We want to turn now to Tom Winter, NBC's national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent. Tom, we have all these different angles on the video now, and to watch those as we're going to...
We have all of that evidence to prove that this was an unlawful shooting, that it was not justified in any way. Thank God we've got all that evidence.
Do here together. You also want to keep in mind what Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, said Saturday, 5:30, as we look at this video. An individual, Alex Pretty, approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun.
From what is shown from the video, he had a phone. He was not brandishing a gun, so that's a lie, it seems.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Do those words match the images that we've seen?
Well, it's not just a question that reporters have. I've been reached out to a number of people in law enforcement, including people who've worked for DHS that have...
Like, it's so easy to justify an execution with a made-up story, isn't it? In the past, it has been so easy, but now, not so easy anymore because people can take out their phones, high quality HD camera phones, and record evidence. And I think that many people should take it upon themselves in those protests. Many people should film as much as possible from what's happening during those protests. As many angles as possible. Many people surrounding as much area as possible, filming from as many angles as possible, gathering potential evidence for unlawful contact from ICE. I think that has become a pretty important job of protesters to do, to gather evidence.
Real concerns about those statements and the credibility of them, but we can look at this video and tell for ourselves. We're looking at it here. We're looking in that moment when the frame stops right there. It's highlighted. That's when one of the CBP officers is reaching in and grabbing the gun from him. We've got a second video that we want to show you, a little bit of the encounter leading up to it, a little bit to your points, Evan. This is the slow mo.
So the question is, why was he shot? Gassed, apprehended, disarmed. Why was he shot? I want an answer.
Now, when that 9mm Sig Sauer is pulled out from the back, here's the second video. We can play it from here. This is a freeze frame of the moment where they come up to him. We'll get to that in just a second. You see Preddy right there, and now he's holding in his hand a phone. His left hand is clear.
Empty.
And so there's no weapon that's displayed at that point. And so the question is,
Why
how
was
did this
he?
incident escalate to this point where it ended up in shots being fired? From an investigative standpoint, they'll focus on the
That is very easy. That is very easy. ICE believes it can do whatever it wants. It can fabricate any story that it wants. ICE believes itself to be above the law because it believes to have immunity granted to it by the Trump administration. I think that is the answer to that question. That is the answer to how it escalated to that point, right? ICE just believes itself to be above any consequence. That's it.
And and this always comes down to this just purely from a legal standpoint, the person who fired the shots, the CBP officer who fired the shots, what was in their head? Did they believe that there was a credible threat to their life? But the gun had already been removed before we hear the shots fired on them.
Yep. Disarmed. Apprehended as well. Held down on the ground. And gassed.
Second deadly shooting by federal agents in less than a month there in Minneapolis. Tom, what happens next?
Pepper sprayed. Who knows? Maybe another shooting. Maybe
Where the
another shooting.
goes from here?
Well, you're seeing calls from ISCP, which is a group of police executives asking for the White House to intervene and intervene now. They want a de-escalation. They want to start to get people at the table. They want local law enforcement and federal law enforcement at the table. Things need to be de-escalated between them before they can be de-escalated on the streets. And it's against city ordinance in Minneapolis for the police to go out there and set up a perimeter and push protesters back. And CBP and ICE are not really trained to be in these protest situations. It's very difficult, and as Morgan pointed out.
Yeah, ICE was not created in order to manage protests or manage crowds. ICE's job is to find undocumented immigrants. That is their job. Their job is not to quell protests. Their job is not to arrest protesters. Their job is not to detain protesters. That's not their job, period. So, of course, they're not trained to do this. They're doing things that are completely outside of their job description.
Usual investigation that the FBI is not going to be leading it.
It's a tinderbox right now, Tom. Thank you very much.
There we go. What we know. A Border Patrol agent shot and killed nurse Alex Preddy, 37, in Minneapolis on Saturday in the city's second fatal shooting by a federal officer this month. Already a second shooting of a citizen, mind you. Preddy's killing has prompted dueling narratives of what led to the shooting, with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz blaming untrained federal agents and Border Patrol, Commander Gregory Bovino blaming protesters and local officials for vilifying agents and causing a preventable tragedy. Yeah, look at what you made us do, basically. That's the narrative. Hey, protesters. Hey, local officials, look at what you made us do. You basically forced us to shoot this nurse. You forced our hand. We would not have shot this nurse, but, you forced us to do it. we had to do it. And this is an important part. Multiple videos of the encounter recorded by eyewitnesses, which people should be doing more moving forward, and verified and analyzed by NBC News, contradict the administration's description of events. Investigators are reviewing body-worn camera video of the fatal shooting. A DHS spokesperson exclusively confirmed to NBC News. The DHS lied? That's great. That's great that we have a completely fabricated timeline of events from the administration. Fake Alec Kyle Parker says ICE was created in 2003. Their agency shouldn't exist. No human is illegal. I mean, I did not use the term illegal, to be fair. I said undocumented. And people people can be undocumented, right? You can lack certain documents that technically speaking you should have. But in my mind, the solution to that is not just mass deportation or detention or brutalization. The solution to being undocumented is creating a pathway for acquiring those documents, right? If we lived in a perfect world, if we lived in a world that I would like to see exist, ICE agents would, let's say we have an undocumented immigrant. An ICE agent would come to an undocumented immigrant and say, you don't have documents, you need to have documents. Here's a list of things that you can do to get your documents. If you have your documents, you will have easier access to this, that, or the other. It will be easier for you to get a job. It will be easier for you to get access to healthcare, to social benefits that comes with having a documented, legal framework of functioning in the US. So here are the places that you should go to in order to do it. There you go. That is, in my mind, what ICE should be doing. Because most people, from my experience here in Poland, that come to the country illegally do so in order to work, in order to start a life, in order to exist in the country and thrive. Okay? It's however much Trump would like you to believe that undocumented immigrants just want to commit crime and become trans, that in a majority of cases is simply not true. Become trans. Bovino is expected to leave Minneapolis tomorrow. Federal officials told NBC News. Border Patrol plans to reduce the number of its agents in the city sometime this week, according to officials. There's the fact that Border Patrol just roams the streets and brutalizes and kills citizens is just, it's surreal to me, especially that I have had my own run-ins with the Border Patrol here in Poland, and I have been held at gunpoint by the Border Patrol, machine guns to be specific. President Donald Trump, who said this administration is reviewing everything about the shooting, is sending border Czar Tom Homan to Minnesota tonight to manage ICE operations on the ground. This is horrifying. This is just terrifying, horrifying stuff, I feel horrified. An impeachment... What is this? An impeachment resolution against Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has grown to more than 100 co-sponsors in the House in the wake of Pretty's killing. A number of Democratic senators have also said they would not vote for an appropriations bill that includes funding for the Federal of Homeland Security, raising the possibility of another government shutdown. God damn, another government shutdown. Holy God, the United States is such a mess right now. Oh my goodness. This is an ongoing situation. The protests are still going. I'm telling you, if I were in the US, I'd be there. I'd be there on the ground. Okay? Trump says lots of progress made after a call with Minneapolis mayor. I think protests are spreading to other cities. Good. They should be spreading to other cities. They should not only be spreading to other cities. People really need to have recording devices. Phones, GoPros, cameras, whatever you can scrounge up, the better resolution, the the more you should film, and from different angles at all times. You should have the perimeter filmed. If anything happens, you should be able to catch it on camera to have evidence, because you know what? The Trump administration will lie. They will create their own version of reality about what happened. They will say, oh, they had a gun. They were rushing us. They were trying to murder our poor agents, so they had to defend themselves. They had to, they did it in self-defense. And when that happens, we will have footage from several angles, just like here, that will calmly point out, no, he was not brandishing a weapon. He was holding a phone in his right hand. His left hand was empty. He was sprayed in the face. He was brought to the ground. He was held down. His gun, which he was legally allowed to have, by the way, was taken away from him, and then he was shot. It was an execution, basically. Let's not mince words about it. It was an execution. It was completely... there is no excuse for this. It's inexcusable. Inexcusable. It is inexcusable. Should look more into this. We should look more into this shooting. It's so disappointing that I can see so many people... Well, not that I can see the FBI chief basically saying that the Second Amendment is an optional proposition. If you send me money, I can go to the epicenter. Yeah? How much money do you need? How much money do you need to go there and film the protests on behalf of the Lucy Haza network? Would you go? Do you want to go? How much would it cost you to go to go there and do some filming for the Lucy Haza network? That would be pretty cool, actually. Would you do it? Would you actually do it? If you do it, I'm game. If you could be my agent on the ground. All right. I'm gonna check some more information. Ooh. Court rules agents can use pepper spray and non-lethal munitions. And a 3-0 decision, this is from 1 minute ago. So this is an update from 1 minute ago. In a 3-0 decision, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals has extended an administrative stay it had put in place, keeping in place a pause on a lower court's order that had blocked federal agents in Minnesota from using pepper spray and non-lethal munitions against peaceful protesters. This means pepper spray and non-lethal munitions can continue to be used by federal agents in Minnesota. The majority of the court says they've watched videos of protests in Minneapolis, and it is difficult to decipher peaceful from violent behavior. What they show is observers and protesters engaging in a wide range of conduct, some of it peaceful, but much of it not, they write. They also show federal agents responding in various ways. Even the named plaintiffs' claims involved different conduct by different officers at different times, in different places, in response to different behavior. These differences, they say, it should be mean. These differences mean that there are no questions of law or fact common to the class that will allow the court to decide all their claims in one stroke. One of the requirements necessary for them to agree with the lower court judge's decision. In addition to being too broad, they write, the injunction is too vague. Even the provision that singles out the use of pepper spray or similar non-lethal munitions and crowd dispersal tools requires federal agents to predict what the district court would consider peaceful and unobstructive protest activity. The videos underscore how difficult it will be for them to decide who crosses the line. They show a fast-changing mix of peaceful and obstructive conduct, with many protesters getting in officers' faces and blocking their vehicles as they conduct their activities, only for some of them to then rejoin the crowd and intermix with others who were merely recording and observing the scene. A wrong call could end in contempt, the court writes. And okay, it's one thing for ICE to be able to use pepper spray and other non-lethal means, okay? It is a completely different matter to exhaust all of the non-lethal means successfully, by the way. So again, pepper spray the person in the face, throw them to the ground, hold him down, take away his weapon, and then shoot him. It's completely unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Judge orders Trump administration to provide more information on Operation Metro Surge 13 minutes ago. Judge Catherine Menendez ordered the federal government to rebut in writing the state's assertion that the purpose of the Operation Metro Surge is to punish the state for adopting sanctuary laws and policies, coerce the state into changing state and local law, compel the state to direct state and local resources to facilitate information sharing to aid federal immigration enforcement, and cause the state to direct more state and local resources towards holding immigration targets in detention for longer periods of time than otherwise allowed. The judge wants this by 6 p.m. Wednesday, so we are going to revisit this on Wednesday. We're going to see if the Trump administration actually provides this information. A federal judge is weighing whether to extend an order blocking the Trump administration from destroying or altering evidence connected to Pretty's killing, and said at the close of today's hearing, we will be getting a decision forthwith. Oh, it has to do it. If the Trump administration gets an opportunity to destroy or alter evidence, you can bet your ass they will do it. You can bet your ass they will do it. They will absolutely do it. A Justice Department lawyer argued that the order should be dissolved because the federal government is already preserving the evidence that was ordered to be preserved. I don't trust the federal government. They have already put forward a completely fabricated version of events in which the person shot was brandishing a gun. So I do not trust the federal government. Body camera recordings of the fatal shooting are being kept by the Department of Homeland Security, which is leading the investigation into Pretty's killing, while all the other evidence is being preserved and maintained by the FBI, the Justice Department lawyer said at the hearing. But the chief of FBI is defending the shooting, so I'm really nervous about this. I'm really nervous about this evidence. A lawyer for the Minnesota Attorney General pointed to several serious irregularities in how federal authorities preserved evidence in the hours after the shooting, including denying local police access to the scene and releasing statements that blamed Pretty and called him a domestic terrorist. Okay, so I guess that's going to be a thing now. Every time ICE is going to shoot an innocent civilian, that civilian will become suddenly a domestic terrorist. That's going to be that's the line now. All people shot by ICE moving forward, they're just domestic terrorists. It doesn't matter what they do and what happens.